Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 11 to 15 of chapter 3. Devan bhavayatanena,
Devan bhavayatanena,
te deva bhavayantu vaha,
te deva bhavayantu vaha,
parasparam bhavayantaha,
parasparam bhavayantaha,
Shreya paramavapsyatha,
Shreya paramavapsyatha,
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha,
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha,
Dasyante yajna bhavitaha,
Dasyante yajna bhavitaha,
Taidattana pradayaibhyaha,
Taidattana pradayaibhyaha,
Yo bhungte stena eva saha,
Yo bhungte stena eva saha,
Yajna shishtashinah santaha,
Yajna shishtashinah santaha,
Muchyante sarva kilbishaihi,
Muchyante sarva kilbishaihi,
Bhunjate te tvagam papaha,
Bhunjate te tvagam papaha,
Ye pachantyatmakaranat,
Ye pachantyatmakaranat,
Annad bhavanti bhutani,
Annad bhavanti bhutani,
Parjanyadanna sambhavaha,
Parjanyadanna sambhavaha,
Yajnad bhavati parjanyaha,
Yajnat bhavati parjanyaha,
Yajna कर्मसमुद्भवः
यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि
ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम्
ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम्
तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म
तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म
नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we are doing this sacred verse number 15. This is actually like a mantra. The difference between mantra and a sloka, you need to understand that, is in terms of vibrations. When it comes to the Upanishads, we call them as mantras. So even when you don't understand anything, just the mere chanting can produce such divine vibrations. Of course, the mantra shastra is again a very deep science. So there are some mantras called bija mantras, means the seed mantras. Then there are other kinds of mantras for specific purposes. Means creating certain vibrations and energy pattern to achieve a particular result. Then there are general mantras. Now when it comes to a sloka, it is just a concise, the sloka is divided into various, each sloka, the entire thing is divided into many slokas. So each sloka has 1 or 2 lines or sometimes even 4 lines. They are usually devotional in nature. So you don't have very strict rules in terms of chanting. Like when it comes to mantras, the intonations, the pronunciation, everything is extremely important to create those specific vibrations. So when it comes to slokas, it is more what we can call as a hymn or the praise towards God, more done with devotion. But in the yogic approach, everything we do it with that energy. We create those spiritual vibrations. So a yogi, he converts every sloka into a mantra. When the vibrations become very powerful and when a spiritual energy field is formed, then it becomes a mantra automatically. So when you unlock the full potential of a mantra, means the full power. Mantra is the power or energy which is encased within certain sound vibrations. So when the whole thing is explode and brought out, then you attain what they call as mantra siddhi. Then that can do wonders, it can perform miracles in your life. Our entire Yoga Sankirtan is based on this science only, the science of sound vibrations. All the materials which have been created and been given to you, and whatever future materials we'll be creating also, will all be creating certain sound through certain sound vibrations, certain energy patterns, which are very conducive for your spiritual growth and also to attract positivity into your life. So, if you take a sloka like this, verse number 15, inherently, the way it is structured itself, it leans towards being more of a mantra, because the subject matter which it's covering is at such a high level. When he says, know that action springs from Brahma, karma brahmodbhavam viddhi, Brahma akshara samudbhavam, tasmat sarvagatam Brahma, nityam yagne pratishtitam. Therefore, the all-pervading Brahman is ever established in yajna, in sacrifice. So, if you see the content, that is the subject matter, is dealing with Brahman, which is the highest, the infinite. So, directly, since that is what is being dealt with, it is difficult to tone down the energy. It's like, a PhD level presentation, to bring it to a lower level is very difficult. So, even though these are slokas, every now and then, you, especially in a scripture like Bhagavad Gita, you will find that the very content, the very subject matter of a particular verse will boost the energy up. We don't need to do much. If we just go along with the flow, that itself will uplift us. It will produce such powerful vibrations within us. So, this is one such verse. There are many verses like this. In the second chapter, we saw some verses which naturally, there was an inbuilt mechanism where the energy was more. Now, this doesn't mean the other verses are any less. It is just that the content or the focus is maybe more on some application. The level may be a little less, so that you can learn the practical sadhana tips. That's all it is. Every verse is important, but inherently certain verses have this capacity to inspire you so much, to raise your consciousness with very little effort from your side. Even if you don't understand this verse fully, just the fact that he is talking about the infinite, if you can keep that at the back of your mind, it will just take you to a different frequency. Know that action springs from Brahma, means from that infinite comes all activities. You may not understand anything, but even when you don't understand, that will inspire you. So, just as when we chant the mantra Om, like in the empowerment sessions, that Om, the empowerment, even in this relationship empowerment, see, the Om was chanted in a particular way with a particular energy backing. So, when you hear that itself, that uplifts you. It's interesting, the same Om, which is a basic mother of all mantras, we can say, has been used in different contexts. For example, every Sunday we start off with Om, and then even during Nididhyasana meditation, the Om is chanted. That energy pattern is different. If you take the same Om which is chanted in the empowerment materials and during the empowerment courses, that energy pattern is different. Why? Within the empowerment courses, for example, we had attracting abundance last year. Even though externally the Om is similar, the energy behind that, the energy pattern which it creates is different from Sambandha Divya Vignan. When the same Om is chanted, a different energy pattern is formed. That is what these masters do. Externally, it may look as if they are using the same mantra, but they have the capacity to, a master has the capacity to create specific energy patterns according to the context. So, Anandoham, infinite happiness, that empowerment was done. So, when you hear the Om itself, that is designed, that energy pattern is designed to take you towards the infinite happiness. The attracting abundance, the very chanting itself will produce vibrations which will help you to attract abundance. Sambandha Divya Vignan, this empowerment, the very chanting itself has been backed with that kind of energy pattern which will cause emotional purification, emotional balance, and which will enrich your relationships. That is why we keep providing with the empowerment sadhana materials, those meditation materials. And I ask you to do 1 week Yoga Sankirtan, 1 week those meditations. We'll be adding on as every year as I give more empowerments, more and more materials. Each material is different in the sense it creates a different energy pattern. So when your personality is attacked, I'm using the word attacked but in a positive way here, or let's say it's bombarded with different spiritual divine energy patterns, it creates various vibrations within you. So that speeds up your evolution. What you can achieve, let us say by doing 1 year of your own sadhana, can be achieved in 1 session of an empowerment. Much more can be achieved actually, because such a powerful energy pattern is created. Oh sir, I am doing the attracting abundance, those materials I am having, I am doing. So are these materials required? Do I need to do infinite happiness materials? Of course you need to do everything. These are all meant to help you. In the good old days, when the students used to stay with the master for a minimum period of 12 years to 16 years, the master used to give all these empowerments. Every day was an empowerment, But in the modern context, since the lifestyle itself has changed, we are seeing how to reach it to sincere sadhaks in the best possible way. There are limitations, but we have been able to achieve the best within whatever circumstances are or within whatever opportunities are available. So, this particular verse number 15, has an inherent energy pattern. When he is talking of Kshara aspect of Brahman and then Akshara aspect and indicating the Uttama Purusha, that is beyond everything. Now, what is most interesting is, see how he has constructed it. This verse has been expanded in chapter 15. of the Bhagavad Gita. The entire chapter 15 is an expansion of this verse. And what is the number of this verse? Verse number 15 only. It's a small indication, like a teaser, So this is linked to that chapter. When we come there, we'll be seeing this in more detail. Every aspect of the infinite will be given in such depth that you just keep hearing it and your energy keeps on rising. All of you have started experiencing that in this verse itself. This is such a deep science, we can say the inner science of the infinite, inner science of God. So the key to benefiting from this verse is to go with the flow of energy. The logical understanding, your understanding and your emotions, all that come later. But primarily you need to attune yourself with the master and go along with the energy flow of this verse which the master is unearthing for you and giving it. So the Sanatana Dharma, that is these eternal principles, they have 5 aspects. The first aspect is what is called as Mahatmya, that is the glories. So even in the Vedas, the first portion are all mantras eulogizing the various aspects of the infinite, nature, everything. The entire Puranas, they are all incidents meant to glorify the different manifestations of the infinite. This is the first aspect. Then, the second aspect of Sanatana Dharma are the various rituals. Now, these rituals are nothing but practicalizing the higher principles and giving yourself reminders and forming procedures to absorb the energy, absorb the higher energy, absorb this wisdom in a better way. Now these rituals keep changing according to times. If you take the pre-Vedic times, the rituals were different. During the Vedic times, those rituals were modified. And the master keeps modifying these practices according to the that particular context, according to the students who are receiving. Now, mechanically doing these rituals are of no use. You should understand the deeper principle. This is the second aspect. The third aspect is the philosophy, Siddhanta. The intellectual knowledge. So every scripture will have all these 5 aspects which I am giving you. So you need to, as a sadhak, you need to understand this and go up to the 5th aspect, which is the highest. So the Siddhanta or the philosophy which is presented in our ancient wisdom, in the Sanatana Dharma, helps you to understand life better. So you have a lot of questions. Why am I born? What is death? How do I face challenges in life? Why are these things happening in a particular way to me? Whatever be the questions. So the Siddhanta, the philosophy part, helps you to understand life better. And even when it comes to the infinite, is there a God? What do we mean by the infinite? So all that comes under the intellectual discussion, intellectual knowledge, which is called philosophy. This is the third aspect. Now, even when it comes to philosophy, there are so many branches. According to each one's understanding, one Siddhanta was formed. The root is all the same only. It's the same Vedic principles, it's the same higher wisdom, but according to each one's understanding and application, different branches come. These are called sampradayas, or different divisions, we can say. See, for example, there are three main Siddhantas, See, if you take the Sanatana Dharma, one is called Dvaita, the other is called Vishishta Dvaita, third is called Advaita. Dvaita means dualism. I am there, God is there. There is a duality. Vishishta Advaita means qualified monism, we can say. Meaning, I am there, God is there, I am not completely separate, I am a part of God. Then you have Advaita, which is non-dualism. I am God. God is what I am. This is at the highest level. Now, they all look different, but they are actually not different. They are different approaches, different applications. Now, within each Siddhanta, there are many branches. If you take, for example, Visishtadvaita, within that, according to each one's understanding and how, in what context they applied it, there are so many divisions. If you take Shaivism or if you take Vaishnavism, within that there will be so many branches. Because, see, the infinite can be interpreted in so many ways. As long as the interpretation is not totally foolish, it will basically capture some aspect of the infinite. That's why I gave you that telescope example. You use a telescope to see the sky. Now you will capture one portion of the sky. Or even that vessel example I gave, you take a spoon and you take water from the ocean, you will take a little bit of the water. You take a bucket and you take the water, some more from the ocean, you will capture a little bit of the ocean, as it were. So when you apply your mind and intellect, you will capture a portion of the infinite. Now that can become a Siddhanta or a philosophy. So in the yogic approach, we don't get caught up with these things. We don't get caught up with the Mahatmya. We don't get caught up with the rituals. We don't get caught up with the Siddhantas because they are endless. But we go to the source, which is where the fourth and fifth aspect, which I'll explain to you. So when we go to the source, thereafter, you can see that all these are nothing but different branches coming out from the same tree. There is no confusion, there is no necessity to quarrel. As I told you in the last session, people who are stuck with different sampradayas, different divisions, who are stuck with different philosophies, they fight against each other. Similarly, people quarrel over rituals also. See, in certain systems, for example, when you bow down, they bow down once. in certain systems, they bow down twice. I know people who fight. No, only once only you need to bow down. No, you need to bow down twice. That is because they have not understood the deeper essence. So in this yogic approach, I am trying to take you to a higher level. You should not get stuck with rituals and philosophies, intellectual discussions and all that. Yes, you can use them to your advantage. But if you get stuck there, the moment you get stuck there, then the progress, the spiritual progress will stop. It will lead to artificial divisions. People who subscribe to your line of thought will be agreeable to you. A lot of energy will get wasted in hatred towards people who don't subscribe to your way of thinking. So, the fourth aspect of Sanatana Dharma is what we call as sadhana. Sadhana means the inner spiritual practices meant to uplift your consciousness, meant to purify your personality so that the infinite powers within you can be explored and can be brought out. Sadhana is nothing but the method by which you perfect yourself. Now, unfortunately, the majority of the people are caught up with the first three, either the Mahatmya or the rituals or the Siddhanta, the philosophy. Only a handful of people get into the sadhana aspect. You require more effort. You require to put in more effort in order to do sadhana, in order to perfect yourself. See, what do we mean by sadhana? What is the relevance of sadhana? For example, here he says, no action springs from Brahman. To intellectually understand this, probably one session or two sessions or three sessions, whatever, you will be able to basically understand this. You may ask a few questions, and once all that is clarified, you will have a basic knowledge of this. This is the third aspect. But what is your experience? Your experience is zero. Do you know what Brahma is? Intellectually you may know, but what is your inner experience? So, to practicalize and make whatever you know as your experience, sadhana is required. That is where the subtle guidance of a guru comes in. See, a guru will give you the first three also, the Mahatmya, certain practices. See, when I say rituals, for example, as I told you, that will vary from time to time. Even when I say get up in the morning and do the Yoga Sankirtan Sadhana, that's a ritual externally. When we say Hari Om, when we bow down, that's a ritual. It's a miniaturized version, Then the philosophy part, a master will give you that also. But these are all the grosser aspects. The subtler aspect, which only a true master will be able to guide, is the sadhana part. A pandit, a scholar, can give you the siddhanta, the philosophy, but not the sadhana. For that, you require a master's guidance. The master gives you certain sadhana practices, and then periodically he keeps empowering the student. As I told you, in the good old days, every day was an empowerment. In modern context, we are having it once a year or twice a year. As a sadhak, it is so important for you to grow. If you say, no, I'm satisfied with this, I don't want any empowerments, fine. That is a choice. You're not getting into the higher, you're not tuning into the higher vibrations of a master. But a true master actually gives you the sadhana and then gives you the healing and empowerment to speed up the sadhana process. Every empowerment actually takes you several steps higher, because see, the karmas which you have accumulated are very, very strong, the karmic blocks. Millions of janmas, millions of births, you have accumulated that. So when these empowerments are given, when the healing process is done, along with the sadhana practices, now that speeds up the expansion of the individual consciousness. So this is the fourth aspect, which is very important. After that comes the fifth aspect. Fifth aspect is the Shakti, the energy. It's only a real master who can do what is called as the transference of energy. It's called Shaktipat, which is what again is done in the empowerments. So when you start absorbing the higher energy through these verses, that is when you're becoming a very good sadhak. You're going into the real depth. So a true master, he will give you stories, examples to make it easy, make things easy for you. He'll give you some practices also. He'll give you the entire philosophy. Here we are using the yogic approach. We are not confining ourselves to any particular division, but we are going to the root, the source. You're very lucky to be getting this yogic approach. So that also will be given, but the most important thing is the sadhana aspect. And of course, the fifth one, which is the energy aspect. A true master, he keeps transmitting the energy, the higher Shakti, all the time. And when the transmission is focused, it becomes an empowerment. When the transmission of energy is general, it is healing. When it is very highly intense and focused and directed towards the upliftment of the student, it becomes an empowerment. So why different empowerments? So as I told you, attracting abundance, that is the energy transfer to raise your consciousness of that aspect of abundance. Sambandha Divya Vignan. It is the energy is specifically directed towards causing emotional stability and purification. So like this, different empowerments are given by the master in the background, so that the student slowly is exposed to the infinite facets of the infinite. The master exposes the student to as many facets as possible. So you should consider yourself very lucky, because you are actually getting the base for all the five. See, in the good old days, these sadhana materials were not given. The empowerments were given, and then that's what the students were at such a high level that they were practicing it by through memory and internally. But in today's world, we are further giving help by creating these sadhana materials. So the chances of your absorption and evolution, becomes more. The chances, you're maximizing the chance of evolution. So when we come to a verse like this, to merely understand the philosophy, that is not enough. Just this word Brahma, we have been seeing that. In the last session, I gave you an example of different approaches. What did Adi Shankara say in this context? What did Ramanujacharya say? What did Madhvacharya say? There are many other masters who have given different facets. The followers are, quarreling, saying that this is only right, that is only right. But when you go to the root, when you use the yogic approach and go to the root, you find that there is nothing to quarrel about. Actually, there are no different sampradayas and all that in the real sense of the term. If you see from the energy point of view and sadhana point of view, there is only one sampradaya, God, you, and your direct relationship with God, with that infinite. A guru helps you to get connected. That's all. All these divisions came about at the Siddhanta level, at the philosophy level, and at the ritual level, and at the Mahatmya level. When it is not backed by the fourth and fifth aspect, that is when quarrels start happening. My way is better than your way. My path is better than your path. Is Vishnu superior or Shiva superior or Shakti superior? That question itself is absurd. So I gave you a kind of a glimpse how these different approaches, different approaches, how they stress on certain facets. Like how Adi Shankara stressed on something, how Ramanujacharya stressed on something, how Madhvacharya stressed on something. Just for you to get a comprehensive knowledge. But now don't get caught up with that. We are not making a comparative study and all that. That is again, we are reducing this to an intellectual exercise. That is not our purpose. See, a guru comes into your life to actually lift you from the first three aspects and put you on the path of sadhana and help you absorb that infinite energy. So be very clear about this. The base which we are giving, see what is being given in these Sunday sessions is directly the source. Thereafter, it doesn't matter. You suddenly you see one sampradaya, you will immediately understand, oh, this is the root, because you have mastered the basics. This is where this line of thought is coming from. This is where this line of thought is coming from. Things will become very, very clear for you. So, what did we see last week? Different dimensions of Brahma. The first dimension, that is the when he says action springs from Brahma and then Brahma originates from the imperishable. We are kind of making a study of both these lines parallelly, because then it becomes easier for you to understand. So the first thing is Brahma or Brahman represents the supreme reality, the infinite. So, when he says action springs from Brahma, that is referring to your understanding of the infinite. But beyond your understanding, Brahma, the infinite exists. Therefore, the second line, Brahman originates from the imperishable. See, mathematically also, what is infinite? Now 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 endlessly, this is the infinite. Now how much can you conceive? In your mind, you will conceive something, okay, endlessly. That itself is actually not conceivable, but with your intellect and mind you will capture something and you will say, this is what is the infinite. So immediately a mathematician will say infinite plus 1 is equal to infinite. Now that will confuse you. Then when you say infinite plus 1, this infinite is greater or that infinite is greater, the right side or what is there on the left side. So in effect, infinite is something which is beyond human intellect. It is beyond your understanding. Yet you understand one aspect of it. That is what is represented by Brahma here. So action springs from the infinite, whatever your concept of infinite is. And your concept of infinite, where does that come from? The actual infinite, Akshara, which is beyond your comprehension. So now instead of fighting over what is Brahman, your focus should be on making that connection between your actions and the infinite. That is the sadhana part. When he says no, Vidhi, he is not talking about intellectual understanding, mere intellectual understanding. That's only a start. He is not talking about merely feeling. Beyond bhakti and knowledge, he is asking you to gain the practical wisdom and make the connection between your actions and the infinite. So when you lose that focus, then all these differences of opinions come and the intellectual quarrels start, the debates start. There is nothing to debate or about all this. See, what is a debate? When one person wants to prove that I am right, you are wrong, then only there is a debate, no? A true master doesn't want to prove anything, because this is the infinite science. So those who attune to him and who travel along with him, he keeps taking them into deeper and deeper realms of spiritual wisdom, spiritual bliss. So Vidhi, no, means make that connection between your actions and divinity, whatever be your concept of divinity. Supposing you feel God is in a small idol which you have kept, that is what is your concept. Even though that is a limited concept, you are strongly believing in that, that is fine. But now start connecting your actions to that. Then your actions will start becoming divine. And as you do your sadhana, as you associate with the master, the very understanding of God will start expanding. See, when you fully surrender to a master, slowly he will expand your consciousness. Through your own experience, he will broaden the understanding or the experience of God. Initially, you will feel God is in a particular idol or in a particular place and all that. But slowly, slowly, that expansion will happen. Till you come to a stage where you begin to experience God everywhere. Everywhere outside, everywhere inside also. And a master will not stop with that. He will take you through the different levels, experientially. Different levels of how you get attuned to the infinite till you come to that final stage, which is Uttama Purusha, beyond word. He'll push you inside, and then the work becomes complete. This requires a lot of patience. This requires a lot of commitment. This requires single-pointed devotion. Single-pointed devotion to the path and sticking to one master. Only then he'll be able to guide you till the end. In between, okay, let me read this book, let me read that book. Supposing, let's say, one quote is given from Upanishad. You immediately take that Upanishad and you make a study of that. If you keep doing those kinds of things, you're frittering away your energies. If that has to be taken, that will be given, no? That is the surrender. Then you're forming a personalized, deeper relationship with the master. And when such a relationship is formed, he'll be able to take you through this inner journey. So know that action springs from Brahman. Make that connection. So this is the first dimension we saw. The next dimension which I explained to you is when he talks of Brahman, there is a reference to the Vedas. So what are the Vedas? Vedas are not any textbooks. Veda means knowledge. So if you take the 4 Vedas, they are nothing but 4 divisions. Veda Vyasa compiled all these great truths, and he divided that into 4 because it was too voluminous. So this is the aspect what we call a Shabda Brahman. So Brahman is the infinite, Shabda is the expression of the infinite, which we call as the Vedas. So it is not only the 4 Vedas. Whenever any yogi, he attunes himself or herself to the infinite and then gives out the truths. It may be done in a different language, in his own way, but as long as the source is the infinite, that becomes a Veda. Veda literally means knowledge, higher wisdom. So different masters came, and from their experience they gave out certain aspects of the truth. Now you should go to the root. In different religions, they approached the same infinite in different ways. See, I told you, the Kshara, Akshara, Uttama Purusha. Same thing, if you take the Bible, they talk of the Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. It's the same principle only. That's what I'm telling you. We are not getting into that comparative study. That is not our aim. But here and there, I am giving you references so that instead of seeing the differences, you start understanding that the basic root is one and the same, that is the infinite, Brahma. So, Vedas represent the higher wisdom, the higher principles of life. So, know that action springs from Brahma means now you should start connecting your actions to the higher principles of life. Every Sunday, you're being exposed to the higher wisdom. Little by little, everything is being covered. In the empowerment program, specific wisdom is also being given. So you pick up all that, but most important is you need to practicalize. Connect your actions to this wisdom. When can you do that? See, just by reading the Vedas or just by chanting the Vedas, you will not be able to connect your actions to that. It is by practicing this philosophy, practicing these higher principles in your day-to-day living that you will make that connection. Then we saw one more dimension, that is, since he has mentioned Akshara in the second line, in the first line, Brahma refers to the Kshara aspect. Kshara means perishable, Akshara means imperishable. So, if you go to a person and ask, what is wood? He shows a table and he says, this is wood. Now, you understand that shape, name, form and shape as wood. That is the Kshara aspect, the perishable aspect. That can change. So then that carpenter whom you asked, he says, no, this is wood, but not in the way you've understood. So he breaks that furniture and he says, this is what is wood. And with that wood, you can create another shape. Today it's a table. You can convert it into a chair also. The name, form, everything changes. The Kshara aspect. But the Akshara aspect, the wood aspect remains. Then you start getting a much more deeper understanding of what wood is. But then you are thinking wood means either table or chair. He says, no. Wood is present everywhere. When you go to that level, your understanding of wood deepens. It's the same thing with respect to God. So when you go to a master and ask, where is God? He will say, this world is God. Or he'll say, you are God. Now you will understand the name and form as God. Then he says, no, it's not the name and form. That keeps on changing. The body is not God. The body keeps changing. What is the power behind that? The energy behind that? Slowly he takes you to Akshara aspect. And then he takes you beyond that also. So, in the first line, when he says, know that action springs from Brahma, that's the Kshara aspect. And then Brahma originates from the imperishable, it is the Akshara aspect. See, after studying this, when we go to the second line, again we will just draw the parallels and see what the Akshara is. That will inspire you more and it will deepen your wisdom. But I am just referring to that a little bit so that you understand this in the context. So action springs from Brahma. That is the key, the connection between the infinite and action. You should not forget that. As long as your focus is on that, you are in the fourth aspect, sadhana. The moment your focus shifts from that to per se what Brahman is, and you started getting into discussions and quarrels over that, then you've lost your focus. In the yogic approach, all attempts are being made to ensure that you are on the path, on this path. You don't get distracted and move away from the path. So this is a very important dimension of Brahma. I'll give you one more dimension and then we will proceed further. Brahma also represents Shakti, the power or the energy. When he says action springs from Brahma. And Brahma originates from Akshara, imperishable, means that which is beyond the Shakti. That is, Shakti is the manifested energy. The unmanifested energy is represented by Akshara, the imperishable. See, how has this dimension of Shakti evolved here? That also I'll tell you. The very root of the word Brahma, the root is what we call as Dhatu in Sanskrit language, is Brh. What does that word Brh signify? You need to know this. This will really inspire you. Brh means to grow. First thing, Brh means to grow. Brh means to expand. Expand means in all directions. Brh means to enlarge, to become bigger and bigger and bigger. Similar to growing only. Brh means to become strong. So when you combine all these things, that which keeps on growing, that which keeps on expanding, that which keeps on enlarging, and that which keeps on strengthening, that is what is called as Brahma or Brahman. So this is the reference to the Shakti aspect, the power, the energy, because it is the energy which gives you strength. It is the energy which makes you grow. It is the energy which expands and enlarges. So there are some yogis, some masters who took this Shakti aspect here and they said here Brahma means Shakti. Again the followers quarrel. No, it means the Vedas. No, it means the Shakti. That's why this is a yogic approach. I am taking you to the root. I am telling you how they brought in this dimension of Shakti itself. It is from this root of this word Brahma. Incidentally, when we talk of Brh to mean growth, to enlarge, to expand, see, he has used the apt word when it comes to Udbhavam also. I told you, Ud also means to move up, that is taking you in the upward direction to gain more power. Power means strength only, to expand, liberation, all that we saw. So, when he is dealing with Brahman, the very nature of Brahman is to grow, expand, enlarge and become more and more strong. So, he has used the word Udbhavam. See how beautifully he has constructed it. So apt, so perfect in the context. So what is the significance of this root Brh? Now when you ask what is the infinite, we say infinite is endless, no end, no beginning. The moment it stops, it becomes finite. That is the very meaning of Brh. It keeps on growing endlessly. It keeps on expanding endlessly. Sir, from here it has come to this much. Is this the infinite? No. This is also finite. From here it has become this much. Keeps on enlarging, expanding. This much amount of strength, no. This much, it keeps on going. That is why the great yogis said, God is infinite. God cannot be captured in words. God cannot be captured through your emotions. God cannot be captured through your intellect. Because the very nature of infinite is continuously or endlessly existing. Just see the coinage of this word. I'm only telling you why they called God as Brahman. These great masters were such geniuses that they, whenever they used any words or names or anything, they understood things in a very deep way and they did it. The very construction of the word Brahma itself makes you feel that the energy of the infinite Shakti. So, Br means to grow, to expand, to enlarge, to become strong. So, incidentally, as you do your sadhana, and as you're growing spiritually, your consciousness is moving closer to the Brahmic consciousness, as it were. So, what will happen to you? You will start growing in all this, in every sense of the term. Your consciousness will start expanding, enlarging. You will start becoming more and more strong. See, supposing you're doing lot of sadhana and you're becoming more and more weak, then definitely there is something wrong with the way you're doing the sadhana. You will have to look into it. So, by understanding these different dimensions of Brih, you can actually get your yardsticks for spiritual development also. Am I growing in my life? Am I, or is my growth getting stunted? So when you get stuck with any particular Siddhanta, again your growth stops there. Why are they saying you should ask questions, you should maintain that spirit of learning all the time so that there is infinite growth? I have told you, Dattatreya said, be a Nitya Shishya, be an eternal student, so that you can eternally grow. The science of the infinite is truly infinite in nature. Nobody can ever say, I have mastered everything. The more we master, the more there is to master. So, he has used the word Brahma, number one, which means this, and he has also used the word Udbhavam to complement it further. See, if you think about it, Udbhavam is the best word which you can use when he is talking of Brih. And what is interesting is in the next line, as from Brahma, we move to the higher aspect which is imperishable, he uses the word Samudbhavam. Further, he adds on to Udbhavam. So, it's like a poetry, a beautiful flow he is setting. If you just relate yourself to that, now that will start lifting your consciousness to higher and higher dimensions. So, action springs from Brahma, the Shakti, the creative Shakti. You have that potential to act within you. If you don't have the potential to act, how will you act? So that creative Shakti is always there within you and that is constantly manifesting as actions. So every time you are acting, it is actually coming from that Shakti. The source of that is that energy, the force. So Vidhi, no, means make that connection between your actions and the Shakti which is functioning within you. Now you may say, sir, where is the Shakti, sir, within me? You are breathing right now. Are you doing it willingly, consciously? It is happening. What is that power which is making you breathe? When you are eating food, the digestion happens. So much happens within you. Your role is just to chew and gulp it. After that, you have no role consciously. But 99% of the work happens after that. What is that Shakti behind all that? The digestive power, the circulatory power. It's all different, the different manifestations of that one Shakti. So every aspect of your personality is backed by that Shakti. If Yogishri is talking now, does he have the power to talk? Yes, that power is there within him, and that using that power only he is able to talk. When you are listening, using that Shakti, that power of listening only, you are listening to this. Every activity of yours is backed by that Shakti. Today, you are disconnected from that Shakti, that power, that energy which is functioning at the minutest level within you. Now he says, Vidhi. No means not intellectual knowledge. Make that connection. A yogi is one who connects all his actions with that primordial Shakti, what we call as Adi Shakti. The next Yoga Sankirtan series is about Shakti only. So, that's again a very deep science, the Shakti sadhana. Now, the meditation is happening and so many things are being revealed. What can be given to you, and the structure is also being revealed in the meditation. Once it is structured in a proper way, you can, and once those materials are also available to you, you will be able to directly tap the Shakti and its different manifestations. So this dimension of Brahma makes you very powerful, because it'll start getting you attuned to that primordial Shakti or energy within you. You are not an ordinary person. You are the manifestation of that Shakti. When you see, that is the power, the energy to see which is functioning. The Shakti is at work. When you are hearing, it is the power to hear. When you are smelling, it is the power to smell. All the five senses, the power to perceive, the power to think, the power to feel, the power to breathe. All your actions are backed by that power, that energy. Every day your hair is growing little by little, no? At least little bit it grows. We cannot see that growth, but suddenly you see, oh, I require a haircut, you say. What is that energy, that power which is pushing that hair, making that hair grow a little bit? That is what is Brahma, the Shakti. And so, in the first line, Brahma is the manifested Shakti. Second line, Akshara, represents the unmanifested Shakti. From that, these manifestations have come. So, the more you are able to attune to that primordial energy, the more divine will you be, the more powerful you will become. a person who's attuned to that primordial Shakti, becomes extremely stable. Your actions will gain so much of power. Everything is within you only. That infinite energy is running within you. You just have to make that connection. The very healing process is by using the Shakti only. No individual can heal. It is only that infinite energy which heals. That's why a master never takes credit for any healing. He attributes it to the divine Shakti. No individual can teach. It is the power to teach which makes a so-called teacher teach. So that is why a master never, takes the position of a master. He never, develops an ego over teaching. Because a true yogi, a true master understands that without that Shakti, nothing can happen. This is what a great Siddhar, he said in the Tamil language, avanindri oru anuvum asayadu. Means without that primordial energy, not even an atom can move. Now they are talking of subatomic particles. The primordial Shakti will not change. See, scientific advancements will only split up and keep discovering more. But that is not going to change the fundamental spiritual principle. So the more you tap into this energy, this primordial Shakti, the more you get connected, you will become extremely creative in your life. All creators in any field, accidentally they tap into this energy and that particular manifestation. You ask an artist, he is inspired and he paints something. When you were painting, what were you thinking? You will say, I was not thinking anything. I just kept on thinking, and suddenly he'll go to a state which is beyond thoughts. He will get connected to that Shakti, and then that Shakti will make him draw that art. Temporary connection. Later on his ego may come back. That's different. But at the peak, at the point of creation, there wouldn't have been any ego. That is how a creative work comes out. At the peak of even a sensual enjoyment, you will find there is no ego. You observe and see. You're enjoying, I'm taking a very gross example, sensual enjoyment. You're enjoying that particular enjoyment. Now, as the enjoyment increases, it goes to the peak. The peak of that enjoyment happens when you lose the individual consciousness. At that moment, the Shakti takes over. So whether it is creative work, whether it is sensual enjoyment, whether it is knowledge, imparting this knowledge, whatever it is, at the peak, the Shakti is fully manifest. When it is partially manifest, you are at a lower level with respect to that field. Now a yogi is one who taps into this primordial Shakti fully. Thereafter, everything which he does becomes creative. Someone asked me, sir, how is it that week after week, so many things you're saying and that goes on inspiring us. How is it? It has nothing to do with Yogishri. It is just attuning to that infinite Shakti. Once you get attuned to that Shakti, now infinite wisdom will keep on flowing. So through these sessions, what is being done? That the different methods are being given so that you also get connected to that infinite Shakti. Then you will become extremely creative in your life, in your field of activity. You will become an inspired actor, as it were. Such a person is called a karma yogi. Remember, this chapter is karma yoga. A karma yogi is one who acts in the world but who's attuned to that primordial Shakti. So the consequences of the actions do not touch him. So he acts, but at the same time he is beyond action. Why? Because he is established in that inner energy. That is the power of this dimension of Brahma. That's why I didn't give you this last week. I thought this has to be taken separately. So these are not mere intellectual concepts. This is not a mere intellectual analysis which is being made. Every dimension which is being given to you is being given from that experience. It is in order to inspire you. It is in order to uplift you. Udbhavam. So that process of Udbhavam is facilitated. And when you get inspired with this, even with all, from all these dimensions, even one dimension if you pick up and little bit of that you absorb, you will see that your whole personality will become divine. The power of a yogi is in his attunement to that energy, infinite energy. So when you go and fall at a yogi's feet, he does not attribute it to himself. He directs it to the infinite energy. Actually, he'll say, no, not required. Just mentally bow down. All glory goes to that higher Shakti. That is the spirit of a true yogi. And natural humility is there. So, we'll stop with that here. It's a very powerful, these dimensions are so powerful. So, you reflect on them. You see this how many ever times you want. But every time you see, don't try to make a hair-splitting analysis of this. Instead, go along with the spirit of what is being given. When you get attuned to the energy flow set by the master, that is when you get the true message of the master. If you take this and now you go and make your research, the comparative research and all that, you take up this book, that book, then you're frittering away that sacred energy which is being given to you. Stay put with this. Reflect, contemplate, meditate, do the sadhana. Meditate means doing your sadhana on a daily basis. And the endless process of evolution will be triggered from within you. Okay, so we'll stop with that here. We'll go into more depth of this verse in the next session. Now we'll do Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper within myself. Beyond the physical body, beyond the emotions, beyond the thoughts, lies the supreme reality, Brahman. From this moment onwards, I choose to connect all my actions to that infinite source, that infinite energy. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Open and close your palms a few times. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. And cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, your cheeks, forehead, the top of your head, the back of your head, your neck, and slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So we had a very powerful session today. The energy levels are naturally higher. So when the energy levels are higher, the healing Shakti will also be more intense. So make use of these sessions to heal yourself, to heal all the aspects of your life. And remember, as you are getting attuned to the higher, don't lose sight of practicality. See, on one hand, he's talking about Brahma, and then he's deepening the concept of Brahma, God, by going to the imperishable and further. But on the other hand, his advice is Vidhi, that action springs from all this. So he is bringing you back to action, practicality. So you have to do all your duties in life. Being connected with that infinite energy, you should function in every aspect of your life. That is the level which you should reach. Doesn't happen at one go. It's a process. These Sunday sessions will help you in that. Okay? So I'll see you in the next session. Thank you very much. Hari Om.